Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you ride a Harley Davidson, and you've ever seen the code U0142 pop up, you know that sinking feeling. It's a communication error, specifically between your ECM, the engine control module, and the BCM, the body control module. Think of the ECM as the brain of your engine, and the BCM as the nerve center for everything else. Your lights, your turn signals, your security system, and more. When these two stop talking, things get weird. So, what does a U0142 code actually look like for you, the rider? Well, you might notice your headlights or taillights acting funny. Maybe they flicker or don't turn on at all. Your turn signals could stop working, or they might not self-cancel like they're supposed to. Another big one is the security system. You might see the security light on your dash stay on, or you might have trouble starting the bike because the security fob isn't being recognized. Essentially, any of the body-related functions that make your ride safe and convenient can go on the fritz. It's not just an annoyance. It can be a real safety issue, especially if your lights or signals fail unexpectedly. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what's causing this communication breakdown. The ECM and BCM communicate over something called the CAN bus, which is basically a two-wire network that carries all the data between modules. The U0142 code is set when the ECM sends out a message looking for the BCM, but gets no reply. It's like calling a friend, and the phone just rings and rings. The ECM concludes that the BCM is offline and triggers the fault code. So, how do we diagnose this? The first step is always the simplest. Check the basics. Start with the battery. Make sure your terminals are clean and tight and that the battery has a good charge. If the battery checks out, the next place to look is the connectors. Unplug them and look for any signs of corrosion, moisture, or backed out pins. Sometimes, all it takes is a little bit of vibration for a pin to lose its connection. If you see any green crust or white powder, that's corrosion, and it needs to be cleaned carefully with a good quality contact cleaner. After cleaning, apply a little dielectric grease before reconnecting them to help keep moisture out. If the connectors look good, our next step is to check the power and ground supply to the BCM itself. The BCM can't talk if it doesn't have power. ULL need a multimeter and your Bike S service manual to identify the correct power and ground wires in the BCMS connector. With the ignition on, you should see battery voltage on the power wire and have a solid ground connection. If you're missing either one, you'll need to trace that wire back to find the break or short. It could be a blown fuse, a broken wire inside the harness, or a bad ground point on the frame. If the BCM has good power and ground, and the connectors are clean, the problem likely lies in the CAN bus wiring itself. These are typically a pair of twisted wires that run between the ECM and BCM. You'll need to inspect this wiring harness very carefully for any signs of damage. Look for areas where the harness might be rubbing against the frame, the engine, or other components. Vibration can wear through the insulation over time, causing the wires to short to each other or to ground. This is especially common around the steering head, where the wires flex every time you turn the handlebars. If you find a damaged section, the repair involves carefully cutting out the bad part, splicing in a new piece of wire using proper connectors, and heat shrinking it to seal it from the elements. So, what if you've done all that, checked the battery, cleaned the connectors, verified power and ground to the BCM, and inspected the CAN bus wires and you're still getting the U0142 code? At this point, it's possible that the body control module itself has failed. It's an electronic component, and like any other, it can fail internally. Unfortunately, this is usually the most expensive solution. Replacing a BCM often requires a trip to the dealership, because the new module needs to be programmed to your specific motorcycle and its security system. It's not just a simple plug-and-play part. To recap the repair process, start simple. Check your battery and fuses. Then, thoroughly inspect and clean all related connectors for the ECM and BCM. If the problem persists, use a multimeter to verify power and ground to the BCM. After that, meticulously inspect the CAN bus wiring harness for any physical damage. And finally, if all else fails, the BCM itself, may need to be replaced and programmed. I hope this breakdown of the U0142 code helps you troubleshoot your Harley with more confidence. Electrical issues can be intimidating, but by following a logical process, you can often find and fix the problem yourself. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more Harley tech tips. Ride safe, and we'll see you in the next one.